Hello everyone and welcome to this presentation. I am MD Jaman Tarofdar presenting together with my other mates shortly Jeba, Mohammad Didar, Abinash Gupta, Alice, and the presentation topic is today is the operational restructuring of the Southeast Airlines 2022. So the first of the company background in the change analyzed in this presentation is the Southeast Airlines organizational response to a major operational crisis in 2022, which led to the cancellation of over 16,000 flights. Let's begin by understanding Southeast Airlines and the context of the change. Southeast Airlines is one of the largest airline companies in the United States, which started its operations in 1971 and has low-cost fares and point-to-point for its corporate culture, employee satisfaction, and the airline has been admired for its corporate culture and because of fair prices and the friendly services, not unless its cost-effective business model is highly relevant, flawless operations. The airline has been renowned as very shortly. The airline also has been historically under-investing in the IT infrastructure, primary decision made so least vulnerable to risk when it was subjected to the these extreme conditions. The background of critical crisis occurred in 2022, and then the context of change in the late December 2022, a severe winter storm hit U.S. Affecting airline operations across the nation. So most airlines were back on their feet in a few days but the Southeast suffered an absolute operations breakdown, canceling over 16,000 flights were and this was because it had outdated crew scheduling systems and the rigid mode operations. Passengers and the employees were not able to clear the communication and the assistance. The event attracted in national criticism and scrutiny, which led to the investigation by the Department of Transportation revealed that the airline had not been able to change the internal system and the crisis management procedure. They raised the need for a transformational change within the organization. And the next slide is going to start my other colleague. Thank you so much, everyone.
Hello everyone, my name is Shivasatya Jyoti. Today I'm going to talk about types of changes and what went wrong. The situation faced by Southwest Airlines reflects both Cotter's 8-step change model and systems thinking. Cotter's first step, creating a sense of urgency, was evident as the crisis sought immediate attention. Leadership formed coalitions with unions and internal teams to address problems. They articulated a clear vision for technological and process reform. Staff were empowered to act, and quick wins like improved communication were pursued. Systems thinking helped them how failures in one area like scheduling software triggered collapses in others, including customer service and staffing. These interdependencies show why isolated fixes not enough. There was a need for system-wide transformation. And then moving on to the next slide, the collapse in December 2022 revealed several vulnerabilities. First, Southwest Sky Solver system could not handle complex disruptions, causing flight crew assignments to fail. The point-to-point routing model lacked redundancy, unlike hub systems. Communication channels broke down internally and externally, leaving passengers and employees uninformed. The leadership was slow to acknowledge the scope of the crisis. The DOT reported that Southwest had not adequately planned for such conditions. The crisis exposed a resistance to investing in scalable tech and highlighted weaknesses in contingency planning, all of which demanded not just quick fixes but also long term systematic change. That's all from me. The rest of the presentation will be continued by group members. Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Mohammad Didar Hussain. I would like to describe about the Southeast Airways what is worked. Despite of the service of crisis, there is a certain position of the acceptance of the Southwest response. The company provided the offer refunded travel voucher within the 300 million. The expenses took responsibility publishes which is the specialized of the trust people importantly. The airlines invited the 1.3 billion into the modernization and the technology. There was the internal unit more than the employment was not very low because of good organization crisis. Recovery the strength of the were developed with the help unit of the refunded the staff. Southeast also included the internal audit. Infinity root of the case started the instance of the transparency manual in the order record. Customer satisfactions and there is the good intimacy of the invited. They included the granular offer of this look back in the track. The organizational response and change strategy. After this crisis, Southeast embarked the strategic plan involved the residing on the structure system will be updating the crisis product. There is the technological updating investment demonstrate a long-time investment providing the such future leadership involvement including the communications plan after the staff and passengers. Training program will be reviewed, embark on the fortunately the employee of the handle service despite the better way. The management also focus on the embarrassing situation, handling the employment and the make real-time discussion. That the menu was wrong or not only the valuable persons. There was also the part of the leader and the transformation toward crisis of the organization availability. After this crisis were demonstrating in the impact of the crisis in the technological sound and the rivet in the airlines. The Southeast Airlines upgraded the technological system in the structure and the employee and the employer.
Hello everyone, this is Avinash Gupta and I'm going to explain my slide number 8 which is based on recommendation short term. In the short term, Southwest should quickly upgrade its scheduling and logistics system. Communication needed to improve so passenger get timely update during the disruption. The airlines should run regularly circle drills to test system and staff deadlines. Frontline employees should be improved the planning and feedback, improve the response. Better coordination between departments is needed to speed up decision. Finally, a clear customer service recovery plan with fair compensation should be in place to rebuild trust, improve customer satisfaction. In ninth slide, I am going to explain recommendation long term. For long-term success, Southwest should use a hybrid routing system that include the strength for hub models. Predictive tools can help spot weather and staffing issues early. A change management office can watch for risks and lead big fixes. Keeping a customer-focused culture in leadership training is a key. Partnering with the tech company will support ongoing improvement. Finally, all process should stay flexible to handle future disruption and changes in the industry. This step will help the airlines stay strong and competitive. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Alice. Today I will be sharing insights into impact of the change. Following the crisis and initial recovery efforts, flight cancellation decreased dramatically by the end of 2023. Customer trust, though shaken, started to recover because of improved communication and transparency. The company suffered a temporary financial loss, but the performance indicators began to rise. The internal culture was resilient as employee morale remained relatively high. Other airlines also felt the shock of the crisis as they reviewed their tech systems. Southwest, although not completely restored, started to restore its reputation by making wise investments and ensuring public accountability, which meant that the crisis was not a catalyst for the transformation that was needed. The lessons learned from this change. There are a number of lessons that can be drawn from the experience of Southwest Airlines. First, legacy should be periodically reviewed and updated to avoid failure in operation. Second, the management of a crisis should be incorporated into the culture of the company rather than an emergency response to a disaster. Moreover, the engagement of employees is essential to enhance morale and speed up the recovery. Another lesson is that rebuilding customer trust requires transparent, proactive communication. This necessitates the fact that organizations should consider change as a continuous necessity rather than one off solution. Finally, system thinking should guide strategy, ensuring that problems are never isolated but addressing using holistic solutions. These lessons can help Southwest and other organizations to better prepare for future disruptions. Thank you.